From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Well, happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the CyberHub Podcast. Apologize for the delay in getting today's show out. We had an internet outage in our area, unfortunately, that delayed our ability to being able to record on time and get this podcast out. So appreciate your patience. It's not that internet outage. Sometimes those things happen, although you would think that in 2022, that would not be the case. But August 15th, 2022, today, we got a packed show. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Let's grab our espressos, our cup of coffees, whatever you're drinking this morning, water, juice, whatever it is, coffee cup, cheers. Packed show. We're going to get into AT&T actually denying a connection to a database of 23 million social security numbers it says may be tied to an actual credit agency breach. This was first reported by Brian Krebs, who said that a 3.6 gigabyte file on a dark web platform contained social security numbers and information belonging to about 23 million people. The company said that the trove of evidence tying the database to AT&T, including email addresses ending with AT&T.net, SBCglobal.net, and Bell South, as well as links to an obscure AT&T broadband service and location data tying the information to the 21 states where AT&T operates. Hold Security intercepted the 1.6 gigabyte compressed file popular dark web file sharing sites, and it contains 28.5 million records, including 22.8 million unique email addresses and 23 million unique social security numbers. An AT&T spokesperson said that it does not appear to have come from their system, adding it may be tied to a previous data incident at another company. It's unfortunate that data can continue to surface over several years on the dark web. However, customers often receive notices after such incident, and advice for ID theft is consistent and can be found online. AT&T essentially denying the fact that this database is tied to them. Twilio says 125 customers were affected by their data breach, but no passwords were stolen. The cloud communication giant Twilio, the owner of the highly popular two-factor provider Authy, says that it has so far identified 125 customers who've had their data accessed during a security breach discovered last week. The company added that attackers behind this incident weren't able to gain access to the affected client authentication information, we've identified approximately 125 Twilio customers whose data was accessed by malicious actors for a limited time period. All of them have been notified, according to the company. This obviously goes on and continues with an SMS phishing campaign, only showing you that once we get email tight, they're heading towards SMS, and that's really the next battle. Especially work from home, remote work, BYOD. You can imagine that that's where the attention is, and Twilio is just the tip of the iceberg there. Newly uncovered PyPI packages drops Fileless Cryptominer to Linux systems. PyPI continues to be abused by threat actors. The module, which was named Secrets Lib and downloaded 93 times before deletion, was released on August 6th of this year and described as a secrets matching and verification made easy. On closer inspection, though, the package covertly runs cryptominers on the Linux machines in memory directly from the RAM, technically largely employed by Fileless malware and encryptors, according to Sonatype researchers X Sharma in a report. It achieved this by executing a Linux executable retrieved from a remote server post-installation, whose main task is to drop an ELF file directly in the memory that functions as a Monroe cryptominer, and after which it gets deleted by the secret lib file. So keep your eyes out for that. CISA's warning and the FBI warn of Zeppelin ransomware attacks. Both have issued a joint attack around Zeppelin, which is a highly targeted piece of ransomware derived from the Delphi-based Vega ransomware as a service family. Zeppelin has been used mainly against healthcare organizations. It also attacked defense contractors, educational institutions, manufacturers, and technology companies. Some of the TTPs associated with Zeppelin include the exploitation of RDP connections and SonicWall firewall vulnerabilities for initial access, as well as the use of phishing emails for targeted compromise. CISA obviously don't encourage paying ransomware, but at the end of the day, they're not the ones, having to deal with an outage. So a DHS undersecretary says Log4j's problem is not over. It may take a decade or longer. Concerns around Log4j are far from over, according to the Cyber Safety Review Board, which recently released a wide-ranging report on bugs' origin. Rob Silvers, the Undersecretary of Policy at DHS and board co-chair, spoke at Black Hat on Thursday and saying it's the largest mass-scale cyber response in history. And while Silvers and co-chair Heather Adkins, Google's vice president of security engineering, lauded the industry's efforts to address the issue, both acknowledged that it will be years before Log4j is found and addressed in all of its forms. The vulnerability in the open source software opened up hundreds of millions of devices to exploitation, and an actual good downstream look at this, especially when it comes to China. And speaking of China, China-linked cyber espionage groups Iron Tiger was observed using the compromised servers of a chat application for the delivery of malware to Windows and macOS systems, according to Trend Micro. Also referred to APT27, Bronze Union, Emissary Panda, Lucky Mouse, and TG3390. Iron Tiger has been active since at least 2010, targeting hundreds of organizations worldwide for cyber espionage purposes. The APT group abused the compromised servers of Mimi, an instant messaging application available on Windows, macOS, Android, and iOS for malware delivery. The desktop version is built using a cross-platform framework of Electron JavaScript. Iron Tiger compromised the servers hosting the legitimate installers for this chat application for a supply chain attack. The sample would fetch an R shell, macOS backdoor that can collect system information and send it to a command and control server, as well as execute commands received from its operators, showing you just how vulnerable we really are. Hardening your controls, really focusing on your basics, maintaining good hygiene, good awareness are all really, really critical. And paying attention to the little things goes a long way with these types of attacks. Folks, that's it for our show today. We'll be back with a whole lot more tomorrow and on time, as long as we don't have an internet outage. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Have a great, amazing week, and stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.